Welcome back to the face of finance. We were thinking about what did we want to talk about today, and we've just had a week of the most insane technical difficulties. Mercury just must be in Gatorade or something like that.
Heavily,
because
all the Gatorade.
And yeah, that's a part of probably running any business. But yeah, we just thought we would talk about that today. Thomai, you were saying to me this morning that you were like, welcome to my world. I'm on the front end, she's on the back end, operations, marketing, visionary, whatever. And I have been dealing with a platform you're familiar with called ClickFunnels, and then also Meta Ads Manager, which are both of those platforms can make you ungodly amounts of money, and they are so glitchy and frustrating, and there's rules that don't make any sense, and you're changing things, and then it's like, well, you can't do that because of some arbitrary rule that doesn't make any fucking sense. And so yeah, it's just been like a real week of smashing my face against the screen, the platform.
You get used to it, but no, I get it. You're absolutely right. We ran into each other, and I immediately look at you, and I'm like, oh, he's got the check stare. It's the dead eyes of staring at the same interface for who knows how long. And I give you credit. I mean, the things that we both handle, I don't know how to do meta ads, and Airtable looks terrifying, I'm sure, from your perspective, and it's fair. I give you a ton of credit, but it's that same smashing your head against the wall until you make a hole and can walk on through. Building a door with your face is basically what it is. And that's how you get through.
And it doesn't feel like it gets easier. It feels like it gets harder because you're doing more. So you require more systems and evolution of the systems that you already have. And so you'd hope that you just get better at it and it gets easier, and you do get better at it. But I feel like what you get better at is the patience, and ultimately the surrender and the trust that you will find some solution. And I pretty much always, if I look back, there was never a thing that didn't move or work. It just required more time, more energy, more money, and more patience than I thought it was going to take or it should take. And yeah, I've just been building that patience and that surrender for it. So as Elon Musk says, running a business is like chewing on broken glass, staring into the void for years. And that's just, if you can get good at that, chewing on broken glass, staring into the void, then you stand a pretty good chance. If you're not good at that, if you don't want to chew on broken glass and stare into the dark black void of the abyss of
existential business abyss.
Yeah. If you don't want to do that, don't run a business. Go work for someone else. And you'll probably end up staring into the abyss for them. So
it's a different type of existential.
If you're going to stare into the abyss of madness, you might as well do it building your own business. That's how I look at it, at least.
You can at least choose. At least choosing it. Right?
Yeah. You have a choice.
You have a choice.
So that's it. That's the whole podcast. It's really been great, and have a wonderful day. No.
I think, there is this path with tech and everything, because just going back into what you were saying. So Ryan was telling me earlier today, it was just it's been such a week, and I've just been working on all these systems, and they compound, they all add on to each other. It's the more intricate and technical your business becomes, you leverage more tools, and that's fine. But, we keep it simple in the beginning, and then eventually we evolve and grow, and it becomes a stack of stuff. It's the tech stack that you use to manage everything. And sometimes multiple things in those stacks are just really difficult. And I remember there was a time I was like, yeah, I know exactly what you mean, because it was just we had DocuSign, not behaving with Zapier, and then Kit was its own thing that we were trying to figure out.
We're going to run commercials boycotting DocuSign on this podcast. We're just the opposite of a commercial for DocuSign, just so you know.
And then go high level, being go high level, and then just trying to like really just start considering Airtable. It was just these like 4 platforms all at once in different stages. Some we knew for a long time, some were just coming through the door, and it was just overwhelming. And it really gets to the point of like, you start to beat yourself up, honestly, because you don't feel like you're making tons of progress. It's part of the process. You know, the only way out is through, and actually getting through that messy middle, you just have to go through it. But as you're going through it, it feels like shit. And you just feel stuck, and you're just very much aware of how often you're banging your head against that wall to make that door. And it just feels like a forever task. But eventually you get through, you know?
You do. You eventually, I mean, like literally, I can look back on the past couple of years of building the Artful Dollar, and there were so many times where I was absolutely sure I have met some impasse that I will not get through, and as a result of that, the entire business is going to fail. And I just felt that feeling over and over again. And then like you somehow get through it, and then you just forget about it. You're just like, okay, well now that works. Great. On to the next thing to smash your face against.
It's true. No, it's very, very true. And I think a lot of the times, I feel it particularly with tech and ops and all of that stuff. But it's just, it's a test of endurance of like, how long can I hold on to, like you were saying this morning, how long can we just hold on to doing this thing this way until we have that breakthrough that we need? How long until we figure this out? How long until we can find someone? How long until I know how to handle it and manage it? And it takes an incredible amount of patience. And that's the gauntlet. That's the absolute gauntlet where you just want to like throw your hands up in the air and be like, fuck it. This is stupid. I don't like it. And
so we're not going to tell you how to fix your tech problems.
If you're looking for a solution.
My perspective on it that has been incredibly helpful is I look at the entire game of business as a spiritual crucible. It is the melting pot, the burning, and it will burn away everything that is not truly who I am. Because it's those moments where I'm triggered by the business, by the refund or the lack of revenue or the difficult client or the difficult employee or having to fire someone or the system or the platform that won't work. Though I get triggered and I observe, I have a practice and a level of awareness to see that that's what's happening, because it can blind you completely. You think your perspective on it is who you are, and you say things and you think that you mean them and you don't. Mm-hmm. And so being able to reflect on myself in those moments of operating a business has taught me a tremendous amount of patience, of surrender, of acceptance, and through that getting to like a place of love for the game of business, and just being like, wow, if it was easy, everyone would do it. It would be like playing a board game where everybody wins. Like, that's not a fun board game. No one wants to play that game. I was talking a little bit about this kind of idea the other day on a mindset lesson that I lead in the Artful Dollar. I was talking about the board game Sorry.
I love that game. Yeah.
And it can be one of the most frustrating games because you could be winning. You could be so far ahead, and then 2 card pulls later, all your pieces are back in the thing, and someone else is far, far ahead of you in winning. And that's what makes it a fun game. Like, the game of Sorry is like kind of so applicable, like relatable, a metaphor for the game of business. Because you could, again, in the game of business, you feel like you're so far behind. And also, that feeling doesn't go away. That's, we built a 7-figure business. We still feel like we're far behind. But you're exactly where you need to be in this moment, facing whatever technical or other difficulties that you're facing. And who you become as a result of learning to practice the patience and the acceptance to deal with the obstacle in front of you, who you become, that's the value that you get from the difficult time. And it turns you into the version of yourself that you must become in order to achieve the greatness, the goals that you're after. And you don't achieve those goals without becoming that version of yourself. And the way you become that version of yourself is by facing the difficult times.
That's all said. Probably. I completely
I scripted that whole thing. No,
I know. No, we're really not using a teleprompter. That's
we just woke up.
Yeah, I know.
We're not putting on makeup. We're not doing our hair. We're practically in our pajamas, just drinking coffee, speaking into the void.
Yes, with that tech stare. I'm just like looking through the camera right now. But
what else is going on? We also had, for any couples out there who are in business together, we were just also on the emotional front again. This is going to end up being just a more emotional conversation, but we were I'm
ready. No.
We were just noticing how I'm dealing with this frustration, and she, I woke up early, started working immediately. That's just what I do. And she got up and she could feel that I was frustrated. And I don't know if you want to express what you were feeling.
Yeah. So I guess it kind of is like, it tees off of the thing you said where like, business is your own spiritual journey. It's your own personal development. Is a personal development. I think I said on Threads, business is the biggest personal development journey disguised as sales and spreadsheets, because it'll just bring up these situations that bring up things in you. And so this morning, you woke up, and I could tell you were frustrated just by the thing you were working on, which is totally fine, mind you. Like, it's okay to like feel frustrated. I mumble to myself constantly working on things. But I don't know, for some reason, I felt it. And it made me nervous. And it was a nervousness that like I wasn't helping enough. I needed to make the space soft. He was just working hard. And not to say I'm not working hard either, but it's just like in that moment, I needed to help. I needed to make the space soft. And in doing that, I could feel myself wanting to be like, don't make myself small. Like, don't be a problem. Be quiet. Does he need anything? And I'm like, and it made me nervous because it made me feel like, walking on eggshells, totally unprompted. I mean, he's just working on ads. He's got no idea this is going on down the hall in the kitchen. And so I just said to myself, I'm like, what? I don't need to do this. Like, why am I doing that? I don't need to do that. He can absolutely be upset, and I can absolutely be compassionate, and I can totally ask him, hey, do you need anything? And I can hear him, but like, I don't need to do the thing I'm doing to like assuage the feelings he's having. I'm not describing this very well. I could tell that, but it's well,
I was saying, she brought it up, and I was saying that I can immediately relate to that when she's going through something. When you're upset or frustrated, I feel, rather than make myself small, I feel like, whose face do I need to punch to make you happy? What wall gets to be smashed? And I get this frustration. It's a pain. It is
pain, yeah.
And I feel the pain that she's in pain, and she feels the pain that I'm in pain. And so even in that, it triggers something. And in that moment, there's this opportunity to just like,
yeah.
She's just upset about something. It has nothing to do with me.
That's what I'm getting at.
I didn't cause it.
Nothing to do with me.
And I can't fix it.
Yeah.
And I feel this need to fix it, but I can't. And that's okay. And so, aside, again, for anyone, whether you're in a relationship or you work with your partner or whatever, or you may one day, and so it helps to have someone that can relate, that can understand, but also we've done a lot of work to build that level of communication where we can just say the thing that's on our mind, that's on our heart, and have it be heard so that we can work through it together. And that's our saying. Same team all the time. It's on the inside of my ring. Same team. So yeah, it just feels good to not be alone in it. And I think that's the hardest part. Even though we have each other, the game of business is so lonely. There was something else I was going to say. I can't remember what it was.
Yeah. But I agree with everything so far. I know. Coffee's still cooking in. So the work itself will teach you patience. It'll teach you patience in the thing you're building, the relationship you have. But like, it doesn't look all zen. Like, it doesn't look like.
So I think that actually then becomes another big part. So you think it should. You think you should be happy for some reason. Who told you should be happy?
Yeah. So like, that's a good point. So like, that's a really good point.
Like, if you're not happy, there's something wrong, and that's not true.
No, it's just part of it. It's allowing you to feel these things and not like throw them at people and be like, "You're doing this to me." It's like, no, I'm dealing with this and it's fine. I think more so what I was just trying to say is like, there was a time when I was working on Airtable, and I was working on Airtable for like, I never worked on Airtable before, and Airtable is amazing. It really, really is. But like, I was working on this new thing, and I had no idea how to do it. And it was this huge, steep, crazy learning curve. And I'd like to think, knock on wood, that I'm over it enough to not have this same thing happen again. But it was the complete overwhelm of me feeling like I'm never going to be able to figure this out. The business is never going to be able to get to the point where it can have the functionality to scale the way it needs to because of me, because I can't do it. I'm the bottleneck. And like, that freaked me out. That got me so upset. I was so like nervous, sad, just all of angry. I was just gonna swear at my laptop as I was working, like, are you kidding me? But I remember there was just one day where we were working, and this is what I mean, like, it doesn't look all zen. Like, in the background, like, sure, from the outside looking in, you're like, wow, seven-figure company, that's amazing. But you have these moments, and it's not just always at 2 a.m. Sometimes it's at 2 p.m. You're sitting on the couch, and I'm staring at my laptop, and for whatever reason, I couldn't get the tables to talk to each other the way I wanted, and the cells weren't popping. I didn't know the displays, and I got so frustrated, I just started bawling. I just started crying out, and you came in, and I was like, I can't do it. And I remember that, and I eventually did, and now I feel really good about Airtable, and I can build that and other things and all the other things. But it's just like, there's just that moment. I feel so lucky to be working on a business.
Raise your hand if you've cried about Airtable.
Maybe. It's like the club.
We've all.
Yeah, so we're all crying over Airtable, basically, is what you're saying. But it's just, we were talking about this on our walk yesterday, where it was just like, I feel so lucky to be doing a thing with someone where, like, you're going to have these moments where you can't take the next step. You're just in your own way, you're overwhelmed, you just feel all the feels. And I'm not trying to, like, I feel like I'm putting blame or shame or like over accountability on the thing. I think I'm just trying to describe the fact that like this stuff is really hard. And there are going to be times where like you feel like you can't take the next step. It's going to be impossible to get past this hurdle. This is where it ends. This is it. This is how it ends. This is just what it is. And to have someone like pick you up and carry you over the next 10 feet or however long that distance you need to be like, okay, put your feet down now. You keep walking. You're good. Like,
yeah, a lot of the time, the solution, and this doesn't ever feel like the solution.
No.
But the solution is to put it down and walk away.
Yes. Stop.
And God, you feel this urge. You just want to run back to it. You just want to. And man, I've done that so many times over the past couple days. You've seen me do it. We're like in bed, and I'm like, wait, hold on. I gotta.
I just need to do this one more thing.
This is one more thing.
I'll be right back.
40 minutes later. But yeah, sometimes you just need, a lot of the time, you just need to put it down and walk away and get to a place where you are energetically, you can feel like a state of surrender around it. And it's very often at that point where something moves and you almost don't even notice that it moved,
Yes.
that it worked. I would compare it to I don't skateboard, but I would compare it to something like skateboarding, where you're trying to do a kickflip, which I'm pretty sure is a pretty common skateboarding trick, and you just do it over and over, and you can't fucking do it. Or you know what? I'll compare it to something I do. I play the drums, and I took drumming lessons for 3 years, and it was like something seemed it should be so simple, but I just couldn't get the coordination to do it in the way that I wanted to do it. And you do it over and over again. And I said to my drum teacher, I was like, man, I don't know why I'm having such a hard time with this. This should be so easy. And he's like, the reason you're having a hard time with it is because it's hard. So just acknowledge that it is hard, or you're trying to do the kickflip. And then there's, then it's like, all right, well, now we're going to learn to like go down a half pipe. That's like a big move from doing a kickflip on the ground. And then, so if you looked at businesses on these like different levels, like there's the solopreneur that's like skating around the park. And then there's like the slightly bigger business. Maybe they're going on these big half pipes. And then there's the people that compete in the X Games. And then there's the people that jump out of the helicopter with the parachute on their back and the snowboard down the side of a mountain because they're on a fucking Red Bull commercial. And I actually had this conversation with a coach I worked with, and he said, do you feel like that guy jumping out of the helicopter with the parachute and the snowboard? Do you feel like he's not scared? Do you feel like he's not painfully practiced everything that he could do to prepare himself for that moment to be able to do that thing, and he's stumbled and he's hurt himself? And you just have to like zoom out and be like, oh, wait. I'm doing a really hard thing, and I think it should be easier. And the reason I'm suffering so much about it isn't necessarily because it is hard. It's because I think it should be easier than it is. And I'm beating myself up about it.
I really love that, actually, because I was just thinking, you brought up drums. And so I did piano growing up. I was classically trained for 11 years or something like that as a kid. And I just remember, like, I would do hard stuff. Like, I'd memorize Mozart for recitals. And I just remember, like, going into it as a kid, at least for myself anyway, I didn't have any of these expectations. It was just all play. And I remember learning Bach. And Bach is nuts. Bach is when, like, the way, if anyone out there that plays piano, you have like a dominant hand, you got to strengthen the other hand. So like Bach is like your right hand doing the thing, and then your left hand doing the exact thing too. And you have to like separate the two. It's like two people on a piano, but those two people happen to be your hands coming from your brain. And it's wild. And so I just remember doing these really like technically difficult things for that age. And I wasn't bothered by it. I wasn't bothered by it. It was fine. I'd still come back to the piano. I'd play. I'd do the things I want. And then I'd go and practice and do the other things. And it all like worked. Like I remember I played so much, like my forearms started getting like muscular. I was like, oh, look at that. Anyway, aside, what I'm getting at is, to your point, I love how you were like jumping out of that plane. There's the expectation that it shouldn't be this hard. And I think as grown-ups, as adults, as where we are now, trying to run this business, it shouldn't be this hard. Why is this beating me? Why can't I fix this? Why can't I understand this? And I think it's just like, particularly I find, I mean, any part of business will do this to you, but tech has this magical way of bringing it up. And like the error messages will be like failed or no or whatever. Like it's just blatantly like wrong.
Or the button's just grayed out.
Yeah.
And you're like,
it's just like, nah.
Why is the button grayed out? Like, I should be able to click the button.
Right.
There's nothing here. No, there's no warning. There's no sign. But the button's grayed out. And you can't click it. And you don't know why.
Fascinating.
Fascinating.
Fascinating. Yeah, that was that. That's what his table looked like that day. And so, but what I'm getting at is like, if you can do it long enough where you start to approach it like play.
That childlike space of wonder and curiosity and playfulness.
What am I going to build today?
Oh, it didn't work? Okay. Okay, I'm going to go do this now. I'm going to go walk away. I mean, that's what kids do. And they get too frustrated with it. They walk away.
Put it down.
They come back later. Or they just kind of keep doing it. I watch my daughter just keep doing something over and over again. She can't quite get it. But, like, she's not beating herself. She's not stressing about it.
No.
And if we can, I think that's my goal. That's what I'm working towards, is to be able to have that childlike sense of play. I was actually listening to an episode of Andrew Huberman's podcast recently where he was interviewing, I don't remember the guy's name, the Free Solo. Have you ever seen that movie, Free Solo?
No. Wait, is that the rock climber?
Yeah.
Oh, I haven't seen it, like all of it.
If you want to just like
yeah.
be in a constant state of edge of your seat stress, just like literally you're watching it and you know he lives because they didn't do the documentary if he died. But you're just like, you're suffering. You're literally on the verge of tears watching this guy on the cliff side of a mountain that is one of the hardest cliff faces to climb, and he doesn't have any ropes or anything. And so he was being interviewed by Andrew Huberman, and he was talking about when they went to first film this, and it took a couple years to prepare of climbing that cliff face with ropes to learn and memorize each movement of the thing. And then they're finally at the place where they're going to film it, and they have this specific window in the season where it makes the most sense. There's 2 windows in a year or something like that where it made the most sense for them to do it, and they were in that first window, and they were just getting crappy weather, and like things weren't working out, and he felt, and he's also asking this crew, friends of his who he's hiring, to come out with him and film and do on this hike to get to this place, and then they just couldn't do it in that first window. And he was like, it's going to be another 6 months before I can do it. And you feel like you're letting everybody down, and you've prepared, and you think, man, why? I'm sure in that moment, he's like, why can't I just get this to work? But that's just the way it is sometimes. And then he 6 months later went back and did it and recorded it. I mean, there's so many times I look at, this is not anywhere near climbing a cliff face, but like getting my Series 65 financial advisor's license. I studied for 6 months, and I hadn't been in school. I was a tattoo artist for 13 years. I would have nightmares that I had to go back to school, and it wouldn't make sense in the dream. Be like, what do you mean? I'm a tattoo artist. I make a living. I have a job. What do you mean I have to go back to school? I have to go back to high school to get... you don't understand. Like in the dream, I'm like, I don't have to go to school. I have a job. I make a living. I'm already successful. And then all of a sudden, I'm like, all right, I'm going to become a financial advisor. And I hired a tutor every day, every week, multiple times, practicing tests and all this stuff. And 6 months studied, took the test, and failed. And I was like, I really wanted to just give up at that point. I was like, I don't fucking need this. Then it turned out I didn't fucking need it.
Yeah, well.
Because I'm not doing that, and I'm doing financial coaching, not advising. But I wanted to prove to myself that I could do it. And I studied, I think, another 2 or 3 months. And I took it again, and I passed it. And yeah, it's the immovable brick wall that you feel you'll never, like, it's the person that has the hunger, the vision, and the grit. If you have those 3 things, you can fucking do anything. Mm-hmm. There's nothing you can't do. There's no platform that you can't tame and make your bitch and fucking...
True, but it's true. You can do... And the other thing, too, I always tell myself, in moments like that, one of the things I've been telling myself for years is, like, no one was just, like, born knowing how to do any of this.
No.
Absolutely. No one has this magical blueprint. No one is just birthed with this knowledge of how to do Airtable or ClickFunnels or anything like that, or how to build a business. There's no blueprint for any of that. And so it's like, you're not doing anything. This is just part of the process. This is just what it looks like to actually go through it and to learn it. And it's doable because other people have done it. Why can't I do it? So that's how I look at stuff.
We were talking last night about a big fan of Michael Singer, who wrote the book, The Surrender Experiment. He wrote The Untethered Soul.
Love him.
We're really big fans. But a lot of people, if you read The Surrender Experiment, you know, but a lot of people have read The Untethered Soul and they didn't read The Surrender Experiment, which I think is a major shame. When you read The Surrender Experiment, you learn about his life. And he was one of the first, like, programmers, computer programmers, and he programmed software that revolutionized the way hospitals and health insurance like do that, and like, you know, that's still a pretty big shit show. But there was no software that could track the way they were processing payments and customers and submitting whatever they submit. Claims, yeah. And I was thinking about that. I was like, we're struggling with the platform that someone built. But like he literally had no blueprint. He had ones and zeros and had to teach himself programming language and then create probably his own systems, his own programming language. And I can only imagine the frustration. Now, he's one of the most surrendered, peaceful people on the planet. And I bet learning to program software had a big role to play in him becoming that person that he wanted to become to accomplish the goals that he set out to accomplish. So if he can do that and program it from nothing and all the broken bugs and codes and things you'd have to deal with in order to do that, I think that I can manage Facebook Ads Manager or ClickFunnels or whatever platform, or find whatever workaround or adaptation or combination of tech stacks that like nothing will stop me from accomplishing my goal. Nothing. And that's the mindset that you must have around it. And if you don't, I think you're not going to get where you want to go. And even if you somehow manage to accomplish even half of what you set out to accomplish, you're doing it in such a way that it's going to cause you so much tremendous suffering because you aren't approaching it from that place of like there's nothing. Like, I'm a big Will Smith fan, and there was this interview with Will where he was saying, if you and me get on a treadmill, if we each get on a treadmill, he's like, one of two things is going to happen. Either you're going to get off the treadmill before I do, or I'm going to die on that treadmill. And I take that mindset into the work that I do. Like, either this platform is going to fucking budge and the needle's going to move a little bit more in the direction or a lot more, or I'm going to die trying to do it. And that's it. There's no plan B. There is no escape route. The boats have been burned, and we're going to make it happen.
Yeah.
So I think on that note, we'll leave you with that. I know none of this was helpful.
No. Well, if anything,
you still have the platform that is not working, but hopefully you have a new perspective.
Yeah.
And to just know that, like, we suffer with this stuff. Everyone, you're not alone. And I think that's the main thing I want everyone to get out of this episode. You're not alone.
Yeah, totally. This is just what it looks like.
This is just
the end.
This is what it looks like when it's working perfectly.
Yeah.
And my dad says that, and Thomai bought me a journal that she got custom embossed on it. That this is what it looks like when it's working perfectly. And my dad says that at the most seemingly imperfect moments to remind himself and remind us that, oh no, this is actually just what it looks. This is perfect. It's all fucking burning down and it's not working, and it's actually there is no other way. This is what it looks like when it's working perfectly. So I wish you all massive success and wealth and abundance in your businesses. If any part of this was helpful, please let us know in the comments or share this episode, like, subscribe, do that whole thing. And we'll see you next time on The Face of Finance.